Hey, how's it going? Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to chat through some common leadership time management problems and some shifts you can make. If you're on video here, you can see Buttercup. She's the latest employee, and she likes to listen to me talk while sitting on the couch. So she's going to hang out, and maybe she'll learn a thing or two about time management as well. Now, it does feel like there is never enough time, especially as a network marketer. There are unique challenges to being an entrepreneur. And so what happens is you're juggling networking, sales, follow-up, retention, recruiting, and then leadership has like all sorts of components in and of itself. You have your own professional development. And then also, most people are working part-time. And so leadership can feel really, really heavy, so heavy that sometimes people don't even want to be a leader and they'll resist that from the get-go. Now, I'm not going to go into that as much today, but I do want to validate these challenges for you. And I want to share with you the most helpful shifts that are actually pretty easy. They require less time instead of like trying to push to be more productive with your time to help you get the most out of being a leader. Okay, so first let's walk through the problems that are going to plague all leaders, regardless of skills, rank, personality. You aren't alone. And the reason I mention that it's all leaders is because it's just the nature of leadership. So if you struggle with these problems, it's not you, it's actually the role. It's the job is hard. And the job is really vague. And I think, I can help a little bit with some of the tasks today. So the first one that a lot of people struggle with is balancing personal business and assisting team members. So what's the right balance? How does that work? Number two is just in general, following up with people when you're supposed to. Number three, their own personal discipline or consistency. Number four, just setting up leadership calls like meetings or one-on-ones and then they're alone or the person is not responsive. And then just being efficient without micromanaging. Now, a big part of time management as a leader is understanding that one of your biggest roles is to be a good role model. I'm not talking about being perfect. I'm talking about doing the things you're supposed to be doing in your business while sharing resources, encouraging people, and inviting people to work with you. Now, I don't mean like work with me, but like work with me, like alongside me. Actual mentoring is not the same as leadership. And a lot of times we can kill two birds with one stone much more often than we realize. I'm going to share with you some of the most popular leadership tips or strategies or shifts or whatever you want to call them, whatever is useful to you. Number one, increase your closing percentage. Now, this is a sales skill, but it also helps with time management. Most network marketers will share that it takes 10 sales conversations to make one sale. So if your goals require you to enroll 10 new customers in a month, well, that's gonna be 100 sales conversations. So how on earth are you ever gonna have time to recruit or launch or lead, be helpful to anyone? And so that really can be a lot. But if you increase your closing skills and you move to 50% rate instead of 1 out of 10, we're now 5 out of 10. Instead of in a month doing 100 sales conversations, you're now doing 20. So that's like 80 extra hours in a month that are now freed up to recruit and lead. Now, the other nice thing is that when you improve your closing skills by having a really good outline that's customer centric, that makes it easy for customers to buy, you have less follow-up. So if you have 100 sales conversations and only 10 of them are sales and you have 90 no sales, that's a lot of follow-up. Most people just can't even manage that volume, right? And so they never end up enrolling that many people. So it cuts down on your follow-up, which also increases confidence and saves time as well. The second shift that you can make it's called power hours, or when I was in direct sales, they were in person. We called them phone jams because, we called on the phone, but I think a lot of companies will call them power hours now. And here's how they work. You need to work and reach out. The people on your team, need to work and reach out. But instead, you guys talk to each other about working and reaching out. Now you can't enroll each other. So as a leader, set the example by scheduling a power hour where you invite team members on a Zoom call to also do your work together. This increases accountability for you because from that time you're scheduled to work and do outreach. It also increases accountability for others. It's sort of like the other day, there's a bunch of us moms on the kids' basketball team, and we go to the gym during practice. And one of my friends, Katie, she had a really, really hard day. So she sent a text. If nobody wants to go to the gym, I'd be okay with that today, smiley face. And I just responded, I'm in. And we ended up talking. She's like, I really wanted to bail. I was going to bail. I had the worst day. But obviously, I'm not going to bail if you're coming. And we ended up having a great workout. She felt so much better after. And it actually was the highlight of her day. We are more likely to do those things when we're doing them with other people. And so a power hour helps your discipline and consistency, and it helps them as well. Number 3, which is very similar, is a response to the question, okay, how do I keep up with all the questions if I have all these business builders? Now that usually isn't the case, but neediness is something that's a worry. And so I think your best bet is to take a page out of the college professor playbook. As your team grows, schedule an office hour that people come to in order to get answers to their questions. You can give them guidance, you can give them strategy, whatever. Now, if no one comes, cool, we've just turned it into a power hour, all good, and you can focus on your revenue generating activities. This way, leaders don't have to fear, how am I going to help everybody as the team grows? Those people can come at that time. Now, I know somebody is going to say, well, what if they can't come? Your job is to be available. Their job is to show up. So if they can't come, then they need to figure out how they're going to solve their problems. It's not your job to figure it out. Which leads me to my next point, which is don't mentor people who aren't working. Good role modeling requires you to spend more time doing revenue generating activities, and mentoring people who are not actively inviting people to appointments, webinars, watch videos, company events, whatever, they should not be mentored, because you're going to get a negative return on time investment. I want you to think about, with your mentoring time, are they good mentees? I remember Googling what makes a good mentee? And there were all these characteristics. And one of them is, well, they take action. And so if the person you're mentoring is not taking action, then either the mentoring on your end, right, it might not be helpful to them, whether through your skill or through their lack of initiative. Could be either, but mentoring consistently when action is not created just really doesn't make sense. And so here's my guideline, that if someone has gone 2 months without bringing in a new customer, we should not be mentoring them individually at all. What we want to do is give them resources so that they can shore up some of their skills, and then once they're active again, then you guys can talk about mentoring. But if people need to be micromanaged, friend, they are not an independent contractor, which is the classification for their role. So if they need to be micromanaged, they're not an independent contractor. It's just not a good fit. Can you provide power hours? Yes. Office hours? Yes. Quick answers to questions? Yes. Provide your outlines? Yes. But micromanaging, it's just a hard no. And if they're not using the resources that you have in order to take action, then that's just not a good use of anybody's time, really. So just to sum up, to help with time management problems, number 1, increase your closing percentage. Number 2, host power hours where everybody gets together and they do outreach on Zoom. Number 3, host an office hour where anyone can come to that and ask questions, get help with strategy, guidance. And number 4, stop mentoring people that aren't working. Once you make these shifts, you'll just feel like so much lighter and so much more empowered to improve your skills as leaders and also to invite others to build the business. I just want to wrap up and let you know that some of the biggest time management challenges are actually linked to fear of responsibility. And I really, really struggle with this one, right? Like if I went all in, it would blow up to a point where I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I what I have learned over the past 7 years as an entrepreneur is, well, a couple of things that are really true. Number one, as your business grows, so will you. And if your business grows so fast that you can't handle it, it'll just come back down to the place where you can handle it again. And it's going to be fine. And at least people had an opportunity. I've seen both happen. I've seen my business grow and I've been able to handle it. I've seen my business grow outside of my ability to handle it, but those people benefited in that season. And then it came back down to a place that really I could handle it. So I want you to have a little bit of faith in your future self. Remember that you have access to resources, you have access to guidance if you want it, and you can do it if you really put the effort in, and of course make some shifts. Learn the details of network marketing leadership, like the actual tasks versus the theory of being a good leader. And I think that's going to help a lot. Have an awesome day, and hopefully we'll talk soon.